just you and I.
All right, now we're going to be talking about private cloud deployments. The private cloud, the luxury option of cloud deployments, the most control, the most ability to secure the environment, but also the highest cost. Let's look at the learning objectives. Our learning objectives for this lesson are the characteristics of private cloud, talk about the benefits of the private cloud, as well as some of the limitations, and why the private cloud is not always the best solution for every case. We see our multi-tenancy versus single-tenant diagram over here. In private clouds, the customer gets a dedicated piece of hardware or infrastructure within the cloud provider's data center. Now, it can also look slightly different where a customer may pay a cloud provider to maintain that customer's hardware in their data center. And this allows the customer to gain control over the quality of hardware that's being used to run their cloud deployment. That was one of the limitations we had discussed of infrastructure as a service in a past module, that you really don't get much insight into how well the hardware is maintained and what hardware is really being used in the infrastructure as a service scenario. One of the other important aspects that we talked about in terms of the risks of multi-tenancy, well, in private cloud, only your data is running on the application or the underlying hardware when it comes to storage and processing. So physical data isolation is definitely one of the benefits in terms of security. You don't necessarily have to worry about other people's data bleeding into yours or threat actors trying to get into someone else's data or the legal risks that come with multi-tenancy. Now, all these benefits in terms of security and attention in the cloud provider's data center, that comes with a premium price. And you may have guessed it, in terms of the business case, private cloud is really appropriate for highly sensitive data. We're talking about PII, personally identifiable information, healthcare data, maybe military secrets, things like that, if it belongs in the cloud at all, are highly sensitive and really need to be treated and maintained in isolation in a private cloud environment. Quiz question. A company pays a cloud provider to maintain the company's hardware in the cloud provider's data center. What type of cloud model is this? Is it a private cloud? Is it a public cloud? Or is this an example of platform as a service? If you said private cloud, you are correct. Although a customer can pay for dedicated hardware that belongs to the cloud provider, they can also pay the cloud provider to maintain their hardware in the cloud provider's data center. That is also private cloud. Okay, in summary, we talked about the characteristics of private cloud deployments, dedicated hardware or infrastructure, isolation, premium control when it comes to security, but also high level of costs. We talked about the benefits and limitations. A lot of control, a lot of protection that comes from dedicated instances, but one of the limitations is that it's also very expensive. And that goes into the business case, that the private cloud is really appropriate for highly sensitive data that you can't really risk it getting commingled or held up by legal proceedings that might affect multi-tenant environments and public clouds. All right, I'll see you in the next lesson.